welcome back, everybody, to the Bucs Planet podcast. And we have some news. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have cut cornerback Vernon Hargreaves. And I can tell you one thing, I have never been happier. I mean, the last time I was this happy is when we fired Lovie Smith or Dirk Cutter. That's the last time I was this happy. And I tell you, I know I'm a little late on this, but you knew it was going to be in the next episode of the podcast. We cut him on Tuesday. And it is now, I'm recording this on Saturday, November 16th. And I tell you what, man, it is a good feeling knowing that that piece of trash is off the team. And I'll tell you, this does one thing. We're going to get right into it. We're just going to talk about it, okay? And I know this kind of overshadows the win that the Bucs got, but we're not going to let it on this show. But it does need to be talked about, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So this is what it shows, because the thing is, everyone's like freaking out, like, why we cut him? Why we cut him? We don't have anyone to replace him with. Well, I'll tell you why we cut him. Everybody that has a brain and has some intellect knows that we were going to not re-sign him at the end of the season, and he would just be waived, which means cut, and then be off the team, and then that's that. And that would have been it for him. So the Bucs looked at it and said, well, we're going to cut him at the end of the season, so might as well do it now. Now, there's a couple things that went into this decision, and the main one being the fact that I looked up in his contract. Okay, I have the details on this. We picked up his fifth-year option because this was the fourth year of his rookie contract, and he had a fifth-year option. We picked up the fifth-year contract. But it was only guaranteed, like we could still cut him at the end of the season, owe him nothing. The money was only guaranteed if he has a season-ending injury this year. That's when the money becomes guaranteed. So Jason Light and Bruce Arians are talking and probably saying, well, we're going to cut him at the end of the season. So we might as well just cut him now and avoid a potential season-ending injury for him, so we don't have to pay him anything. So it's literally the Bucs saying, screw you, get out. That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it should have been. And I'm happy because that garbage football player is off the team. And if you want to change culture, this is how you do it. You get pieces of trash like that out the team. And people are going to say, oh, you're being too hard. I'm not being too hard on this guy because this guy's a loser. He's a bad football player, and he's bad for the team. He's a locker room cancer. Now, people aren't going to say this. It's not been reported, but he is. Him just playing the way he does, him not caring the way he does, that's a locker room cancer. He might not be a Deshaun Jackson where he's literally dividing the locker room. I can tell you one thing. A player who puts in zero effort on every play, I mean, you can just see the lack of effort, and he doesn't even care. His head's always down low, never picks his head up, walks with good posture. He doesn't care. He's just thriving in this losing culture. And I'll tell you, it was a problem. I always think it's a problem when you get drafted to the team of your hometown. And that's exactly what happened to Vernon Hargreaves. He was drafted into the 813 area, which is where he grew up. And I'll say another thing, too, about this is a good example is Dalvin Cook. I actually think that Dalvin Cook would be much worse in Tampa than he is in Minnesota. I think he's much better off in Minnesota. And I know, well, he obviously has better offensive line, better coaches, better team around, right? But I think Dalvin Cook would also have the same problems Hargreaves does in terms of just living and getting drafted in the own city that you grew up in. For some reason, it just affects people. Of course, it doesn't always, but when you're Tampa, there's a lot of stuff to do, unlike, Minnesota or Buffalo or something. It affects them, and it affected Hargreaves. That's obviously not the only thing that affects him, but I do think that contributed a little bit to it in terms of how he just really didn't care, because his whole family's there. It was just easy not to care, I guess, for him. But he's not good, and we got rid of him. And the coaches, I mean, this is a big deal. He's a top 11 pick that we cut. Okay, top 11 pick, cut him, and no trade. No, we tried to trade him. People are like, well, why don't we trade him? Well, first of all, trade deadline's up. People are like, well, why don't we trade him before deadline? We tried to trade him before the trade deadline. Nobody wanted him. Nobody cares about this guy. And I know he did just get picked up by the Texans, but nobody's going to trade for him, not even a seventh rounder. We would have taken a seventh rounder, I'm pretty sure, by the way, because it's been reported that Light and Arians have been discussing cutting him for several weeks now, which means he's been in the doghouse for a while. And I guarantee we would have taken a seventh round pick for him. So I'll say this. A top 11 pick was cut. This just shows you Bruce Arians right here. Because Jason Light has, he's not a good general manager. We already know this. He picks bad players. And Jason Light did not, I'm sure, it was not his idea to cut him. I'm sure it was Bruce Arians. And I'll tell you, this is a really good move because it shows the rest of the team, hey, just because you were picked high, just because you were an all-star in college, that doesn't mean anything here. If you want to come in here and play like garbage and not care and contribute to the losing culture, you will not play football here. I don't care if you're picked top 11 or I don't care if you're picked, if you're undrafted or if you're picked top 11. You're not going to be here. Everyone's held to the same standards. And that is a fantastic message to send to your football team that's struggling. We did beat the Cardinals on Sunday, but we looked bad. We almost did our typical thing where we play good and then we blow it in the fourth quarter. We almost did it. We tried to do it. It didn't work out, though. We tried to lose. It didn't work out. And Hargreaves was, there's one thing. And now, think how young our secondary is. Our oldest player now is his second year. Second year player, Carlton Davis. And I've already heard my thoughts on him. He's decent. Now he's just, by far, he's going to be the number one. We have Jamel Dean's going to start now, who we'll get into in a minute here. Some apologizing to do in terms of that criticism. But Jamel Dean, MJ Stewart, even though he's injured right now, but he'll be in there. Whitehead, second-year player. And, of course, Mike Edwards, other safety. And I'll say this. So now a lot of people were telling me, well, why we cut him? I mean, all the other people are bad too. Why not just keep him? And then just pretending like you're just ignoring the whole money issue, the contract thing. Look, the Bucs have the 31st ranked passing defense. So basically we have the worst secondary in the league. It's a fact. Worst secondary in the league. Technically second to worst, but the way we play, I'm pretty sure we're the worst. And, what difference does it make? If you keep just going out on the field every week with the same players, you're going to get the same result. So Bucs just said, just cut him. Who cares? We already have it can't get any worse. We already have basically the worst pass defense. Cut him. And that's what we did. And I'm so happy we cut him. There is some Florida Gator fans out there that don't watch NFL football, and they're just devastated that Hargreaves got cut. And they're like, why did he get cut? Why did he get cut? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, he's bad. I mean, open your eyes, watch film. Don't even watch film. Just watch a game. Watch half a game. Watch one quarter of a game, and you'll understand why he was cut. He should have been cut a while ago, but, it's not every day that you have to cut a top 11 pick. And this goes back again to Jason Light. Worst general manager in the NFL, hands down. He's the worst I've seen. I think he is worse than Mark Dominic, and that's tough. That is tough. Mark Dominic passing on Luke Kuechly, picking Mark Barron, Josh Freeman, all those idiots we got up there, Safarian Jenkins. Actually, I don't know if that was with him, but look, Mark Dominic was bad. Jason Light is bad. He is horrible. And now you look at the 2016 draft class. Okay, that's with Hargreaves. And I've already made a video on it, and it's gotten even worse. I mean, it has straight up gotten even worse somehow. And I didn't think that was possible. You look at that class, and there's only one player from that class that is still rostered on our team. Now, I don't know about you, but that is the most unacceptable statistic I think I have ever heard. You cannot miss on every pick in a draft. And I'll go through the list right now. And let me pull it up. Just so I can go in order of how stupid this draft class was. I mean, it's ridiculous. You have first pick, Vernon Hargreaves. Yeah, here it is. Okay. First pick in the draft, you have Vernon Hargreaves. Just cut from the team. Bus, you cannot miss on a top 11 pick. You can't do it. Jason Light missed. Oh, and then don't worry, it gets better. In the second round, we picked Noah Spence, who, only dropped because he had drug issues, and he was supposed to be, all-pro, top 10 pick if he didn't have the drug issues. Yeah, he sucked off the team. He's so bad. Goodbye. And now he's on the Redskins. And what has he done on the Redskins? Absolutely nothing. Just normal guy. And remember we went over all the newspapers in the off season during training camp. Oh, Noah Spence is in his role. He's gonna be back. He's gonna be back. Oh, yeah, but interesting. He got cut a week later, so you can let me know how that's going, Tampa Bay Times. Then we have the infamous trading up to get Roberto Aguayo, kicker in the second round. Oh, where's he? He didn't even make the XFL, people. He didn't even make the XFL. Do you know how ridiculous that is? Oh, but according to Jason Light, he is a second-round NFL draft pick. Now can't even make an XFL roster. Embarrassing. Then we go on, we pick Caleb Benenoch, the worst tackle I've ever seen in my life besides Josh Wells. And he's not even on the team anymore because he's so bad. He had a couple starts last year, and that was it for him. And then we went Ryan Smith. And congratulations, Ryan Smith is still on the team. And guess what? He sucks. And we'll get to that in a minute. Then we have linebacker Devontae Bond. Yep, he's gone. Then fullback Dan Vitale. And you obviously know he's not on the team because he had that pretty gruesome injury. But still, it's ridiculous. One player from an entire draft class on our team. Do you know how unacceptable that is? Do you know how unacceptable it is to miss on every pick? Because even if you're like, oh, you didn't miss on every pick, one player's still on the team. Yeah, but that player is bad. He is not a good football player. Ryan Smith. Let me tell you, we'll move off this now that we understand that Jason Light missed on every single pick. I mean, that's insane to me. Insane. Absurd. He should be fired from this draft class alone. But yeah, we signed him to a 5-year extension. Yeah, we'll see about that. If I was the Glazers, I'd already have the pink slip ready to hand it to him right when the season ends. Maybe just mail it to him. Don't even give it to him face-to-face. Just maybe he'll, go and get his mail in the morning one day in the offseason. A big old pink slip say, "You're fired. Thank you very much. You are fired. Good riddance. You're horrible." That's exactly what I would write on the letter, but, whatever floats your boat. Now we'll talk about the game. The Bucs won. I'm impressed. We did win. And we kind of made Kyler Murray look like a Hall of Famer, rookie quarterback. Our record against them, not very good. And we normally make him look like Hall of Famers. We didn't make him look that much like a Hall of Famer because Kyler Murray just isn't that good. We usually make subpar rookie quarterbacks look good. Kyler Murray, I don't even really think is subpar as of right now. He's short. He is so short. I know you're going to say, well, you've seen Drew Brees probably 20 times in your life. He's in the division. He comes every year. He's short. You've seen Russell Wilson a handful of times, too, in person. Yeah, but I don't know what it is. But Kyler Murray, I already looked up the height difference. He's really 2 inches shorter than Brees and an inch shorter than Russell Wilson. But, he looks so short compared to – I'll look at Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray just looks so much shorter. He is short, man. I don't know what it is. He just looks really short. Drew Brees and Russell Wilson look short, but not that short. Kyler Murray looks like absurdly short, and he's inaccurate. We saw that several times. He had guys wide open. He overthrew them. Especially when Jameis threw a pick on one of the first plays of the game. He had a couple people wide open in the end zone, overthrew him twice. Back-to-back plays. So he didn't look that good. I'm not a big Kyler Murray fan. He's cocky. He thinks he's one of those people who thinks he's probably one of the best ever, like a Baker, but he just has a more quiet cockiness. I don't really like him. The dude's short. That man is short. But anyways, so one thing that we made sure to do, though, is still look bad while winning. That's one thing we made sure to do. And this is going to go back again to the secondary because it's so bad. I had a friend that asked me before the game, he said, so, Will, who's the guy who's going to kill us today? Think Larry Fitzgerald's going to kill us? I was like, no, not him. He's a little too old. And then I go, who's that receiver that they got out of A&M last year? That's pretty good. Who's that guy? And he goes, oh, you mean Christian Kirk? I was like, yeah, that guy. That guy's going to kill us today. I said that at the tailgate before the game, not kidding. And what happened? Let's go ahead and look up Christian Kirk's stats. 6 receptions, 138 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Congratulations, Christian Kirk. You're this week's Bucs killer. I'm going to start doing that now every week. After we have a game, there's going to be a Buck killer. Who was the Buck killer? Even when we win, there's still going to be a Buck killer. And I can tell you one thing, Christian Kirk was the Buck killer this week. And I'll tell you exactly how we got all of them. The exact same way, except the third one. The first 2 we got the exact same way. Sean Bunting, one-on-one, Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk doesn't even run, a cut or anything. He just runs straight forward and is 5 steps ahead of Sean Bunting. Completely burnt him for a touchdown. The easiest thing you'll ever see in your life. Easy. I mean, it's easy. I could have thrown the touchdown. You could have thrown the touchdown. My 80-year-old grandpa could have thrown the touchdown. He's 10 steps ahead of Sean Bunting, and all he did was run forward. And then you're like, well, that is what it is. And then all of a sudden, I'll say this quickly. Vernon Hargreaves, he gets benched during the game. And this had a lot to do with why he was cut. I'm sure this was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, if so to speak, in terms of cutting Hargreaves. He wasn't hustling. Again, no effort, no lack of, caring. And he got benched. And who came in? Jamel Dean. And we'll get into him. But then, all of a sudden, I haven't heard of Ryan Smith's name, who's really a special teams guy. He comes onto the field for one play, gives up a 68-yard touchdown to Christian Kirk. Same way. Christian Kirk, one-on-one with Ryan Smith, just runs forward and is 10 steps ahead of Ryan Smith and catches the easiest ball you'll ever see in your life for a touchdown. It'll be the easiest touchdown that Christian Kirk will ever have in his career. It was actually even easier than the Sean Bunting touchdown because Sean Bunting, at least that one, he didn't have as much field to work with because the Cardinals were at the 50. Now the Cardinals are at the 30, their own 30, and then they just aired it out to him wide open. And then Ryan Smith comes on for one play, lets that up, and then comes right off the field and doesn't play another down. And that's the one player, by the way, that's still from the 2016 draft class. That's the one player that we still have on the team. Comes in for one play, gets completely toasted, and then right back to the bench, buddy. Back where you belong. I know what you're saying. Well, if they had Hargreaves in there, it wouldn't have. No, it would have still happened because Hargreaves doesn't play outside. Hargreaves plays slot. So I don't want none of that garbage. Now, Jamel Dean, cornerback. I ripped him last week for his horrific performance. And I was like, he is his first game, but he still deserves this hate. I mean, he's bad, blah, 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 typical Jason Light pick. And I did not, and I knew he was going to be getting some playing time today. I didn't know how much, but especially when Hargreaves got benched, he was going to get really full playing time. And he got in there. And, I mean, I've never seen as much improvement from a week-to-week basis as this kid. I mean, he played fantastic. He played fantastic last week, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jamel Dean. You had a good game. I'm impressed with your performance last week. He had an interception even. He had multiple pass breakups, and he even had a key interception that allowed us to go score the game-winning touchdown. Now, I know Kyler Murray's not good, and Kyler Murray panicked and threw it into double coverage, but still, Jamel Dean caught the ball, and that was supposed to be where Hargreaves was. And I guarantee you Hargreaves wouldn't have caught the ball. He would have been beat by 100 yards. And Jamel Dean caught the ball, interception. We go down, score a touchdown, win the football game. That's good stuff, man. I'm impressed. I don't usually say I'm impressed with the defensive back, but I was with Jamel Dean this past week. And we're going to need a performance like that again because the Buccaneers face the New Orleans Saints tomorrow, a team that I hate. I hate them the most out of the entire NFL. And I'm going to be sitting there in the stadium with all the, who that think going to beat them Saints? I'm going to be with all those people, all those buses that come from New Orleans that leave tonight, really late tonight, that they're going to get in here at, actually, they'll probably, when do you think they'll leave? They'll probably leave just really, really early this morning. They'll get here at 1 o'clock. All the bus from New Orleans, just, loading with New Orleans fans coming off. Oh, gosh. It's going to be tough. I hate the Saints. I hate them. I hate their fans. I hate their players, except for Drew Brees. And I most of all hate Sean Payton, their head coach. Hate him. Can't stand him. He is a jerk. He treats everyone badly. He should be kicked out of the NFL for his bounty gate that he allowed to happen. And for those of you, this was a long time, about 5 or 6 years ago. Bounty gate is his defensive coordinator, Greg Williams, paid players to injure opposing teams' players. They got paid to do that. So it's actually illegal. It's almost like it's literally called bounty gate because it's like you're hiring a bounty hunter to injure someone. It's like you're hiring a hitman basically. And Sean Payton allowed this to happen. He did get fined. He did get suspended. I thought he should just be banned from the NFL because that's unacceptable for a coach to be paying players to injure opposing teams' players. It's bad. So I hate him. And I just can't stand him. The guy's a jerk. No one likes him except, Saints fans. So it would just, nothing could make my day more than to just go to Raymond James tomorrow and beat the freaking Saints. Nothing could make me happier. My year would be made if we could go and beat the stupid Saints tomorrow. I hate them. I just want to beat them. And to beat them, we're going to need Jamel Dean to play like he did last week. We're going to need Carlton Davis. He's playing. He's ready to go. We need you to lock up, son, because Michael Thomas is going to be all over you, and I'm sure he's going to have like 180 yards, but that is what it is. Try your best. And Ted Ginn, okay? Don't get beat by Ted Ginn. We get beat by Christian Kirk. Ted Ginn's fast. We need to cover him. The speed is a mismatch because if we're getting beat by Christian Kirk, who we know is fast, okay, let's be honest, Christian Kirk's fast, but if we get, Ted Ginn's the new fast guy this week, and we need to be better at that, okay? So that means double coverage, safety help over the top, less man-to-man, I don't know. But that means less blitzing, so we'll see about that. But we need to beat the Saints tomorrow. I would be so hyped. And by the way, the Falcons, who were, like 1-7 or 1-8 as of last week, no one thought that they would beat the Saints. They're going to New Orleans, and you know what they all say? Oh, nobody beats New Orleans in the Superdome. You can't do it. And they're coming off of a bye week. The Falcons are going to get blown out. And by the way, I hate the Falcons too, but Falcons said, we're tired of this garbage. We're tired of you, Sean Payton. We're tired of you, Who Dat fans. We're tired of the overhypeness of your team. Your bad football team. They're a decent football team, but whatever. So the Falcons, who are 1-8, went into the New Orleans Superdome and beat the Saints. And then not only did they beat them, they blew them out. They won like 23-9. They held the Saints to 9 points. It was the first time in the Drew Brees era that the Saints haven't scored a touchdown at home while Drew Brees has started a game. That's bad. And the Falcons said, and the Falcons have one of the worst defenses in the league, and they just said, we're tired of it. We'll lose to teams like, the Redskins or some other garbage team. They didn't lose to the Redskins, but I'm saying they would lose to a bad team like that. But they've had enough with you, Saints. everybody's had enough with you. And I can tell you, the Saints are now going to be fired up because everyone's now saying, well, how did they lose? Like, that's insane. They lost to the Falcons. So they're going to be fired up to beat us. But I can tell you one thing. We're fired up to beat them too, because them losing to the Falcons shows us, hey, these guys are not immortal. In fact, they're not much better than we are. They just, they're just annoying. And they ain't going to ever win a Super Bowl again. So, well, I hope not. That'd be bad. That'd be very, very bad. Bad, bad, bad. But, we need to go beat them. We can go beat these guys. It's our house. Defend it. Beat them. Nothing would make me happier. Nothing. But let's be honest here. We're probably going to lose. I just got to be honest here. But we might beat them. We have a chance. I do think we have a chance. It's really, the NFL is unpredictable. And that's why it's better than college. That's why it's better than anything. The NFL is so unpredictable that you really, on any given Sunday, anything could happen. One last thing here. I want to talk about Ronald Jones a little bit. Ronald Jones is coming along. He finally got a full start last week where he received, I think, 18 carries. And he did not have 100 yards. He didn't really do, statistically light it up. I mean, this man played well. He had a rushing touchdown, and he looked good. He had receiving yards. We did a screen on 3rd and 20. He picked up the first down. He's fast. He's juking out players. And the one thing that I'm actually most impressed with is his knock was in college is that, feather falls on him and he's down. Meaning he doesn't break that many tackles. But this guy's straight up hard to bring down now. He's not one of those speed guys that if you just touch them, they fall down, but they're fast. So you kind of have so you have one of those and you have a hard-nosed guy. Ronald Jones is fast, and he's not easy to bring down. He's not Marshawn Lynch or something or Mike Allstott, but I mean, he can pack a little wallop in you. I saw him lower his shoulder and deck a guy last week, and even on one of his touchdown runs, the guy dove at him, and he didn't even fall down. He just stayed right up there, and he scored a touchdown. Now, he did have the boneheaded play where we do a screen to him, and this was late in the game, and then he straight up drops the ball. He catches the ball, runs, and then no one even touches him. He just fumbles the ball, just drops it, and then the Cardinals get it, and that almost cost us the game. And then Jamel Dean bailed us out, and then we went down to win the game. So he almost cost us the game, but I did like what I saw outside of that one play. Also, I just remembered another thing before we wrap it up here. I don't know what Bruce Arians' problem is. I really don't. Cutter's main issue really was his use of timeouts. It was horrible. He had horrible clock management skills. And Bruce Arians, who's a two-time coach of the year, he's 68 years old. He's been doing this a while. Believe it or not, been doing it a while. I mean, he doesn't know what he's doing either with that. We call a challenge. Let me tell you how this works. I'll tell you what happened. He has horrible time management too, and I don't understand why. He's been doing this for so long, you think he'd know. Two-time coach of the year, doesn't even know what he's doing. There was this one play where not Carlton, he didn't play, but I can't remember who it was. Someone was called for defensive pass interference. And Bruce Arians thought that it was offensive pass interference. And it kind of was. I agree. I thought it was offensive pass interference. But it wasn't that obvious. It was really like they were both handsy and the ball was overthrown. That's really what it was. But in the NFL, they only overturn the pass interference calls if it's clear and obvious. And it was not clear and it was not obvious. But Bruce Arians challenged it anyways, and they said, ruling on the field stands, and then we're charged at the timeout. So now that's just loss of one timeout, and then this idiot, when we have a guy, when Kyler Murray gets the ball back after Ronald Jones' idiotic fumble, Kyler Murray gets sacked, but then as he's getting sacked, he throws the ball away. And they ruled that it was an incomplete pass. But if you see the replay, his knee hits the ground before he throws the ball, so it should be a sack. But it's not a sack. and we don't have a challenge flag to challenge the play. So, Bruce Arians challenges it anyways, even though we don't have a challenge. And then the officials go on there and say, hey, the Tampa Bay does not have a challenge flag, so that they will now be charged with a timeout for attempting to challenge a play they're not allowed to. And I'm just like, Bruce, what are you doing, you idiot? Why would you do that? And then now there's reports where it's like, oh, he did it on purpose. He did it on purpose. You think and he goes out there, he says he did it on purpose. Where he's like, you think I'm that much of an idiot? I challenged on purpose to mess with the refs. And I'm like, and in my head, I'm thinking, oh, you better have not done that on purpose, because we're going to have problems, Bruce, if you did that on purpose. You just cost the team a timeout purposely just so you can mess with the officials. What is the purpose of that, might I ask? What if we ended up needing that timeout? What if the Cardinals went down, kicked a field goal, and we needed one last drive, and we only had a minute and a half left? We would have needed that timeout. But you thought it was okay just to throw it away, just to mess with the officials. Oh, I hope not, Bruce. I hope you just had a mental error and you forgot that you challenged the play. I hope that's what it was, because that is unacceptable for a two-time. People are saying, give him a break. I'm not giving him a break. He's 68 years old. He's a two-time coach of the year. He needs to not be making these stupid mistakes. And he better have not done it on purpose. I'll tell you that right now. Better not have done that on purpose. But anyways, the Bucs play the Saints tomorrow. Can we just beat them? Like, please? I don't care if we win a game the rest of the season. I want to beat the New Orleans Saints. It would make my year, really. It would make me very happy. So, Buccaneers cut Vernon Hargreaves, baby. Now that Hargreaves is gone, we got a chance. We got a chance. And, yeah. See you guys next time, and go Bucs, baby.